Yaho, minasan, konichiwa, Annie desu. Hello everyone, my name is Annie, and today let's talk about part-time jobs in Japan. So if you're going to university, a part of focusing on your studying, this is the time where you will kind of start to think about how to make money, or at the very least, how to make enough money to support yourself. And one of the most common ways for students to earn money while at school is to do part-time jobs. A lot of university students do part-time job even when they're studying abroad. It's a great way to tap a little bit of working experience while in school, and on top of that, you can make a little bit more on the side to support yourself in terms of rent, tuition, and other personal expenses. I definitely think that it's something that you should try while you're at school, and especially if you're studying abroad. So today, I want to share with you a bit more into the part-time job culture and system in Japan. What kind of jobs can you do as a student, where you can find these jobs, how you can apply for these jobs, and in the end, I will share a bit about the part-time jobs that I did and how much I made from them. So make sure to stay tuned to the end of the video. Let's get started! 始めましょう! So first is the part-time job system in Japan. In Japanese, part-time job is called arubaito, which derived from the German word Arbeit, and a lot of the time it can be shortened to just baito. In Japan, most teenagers and students do part-time job. Not all places hire high school students, but definitely they hire university students. So if you're coming here to study university, then definitely take this chance. Part-time jobs in Japan are paid by the hour, and the rate really depends on what kind of job, what is the working hour, and where are you working. So the minimum wage per hour really depends on the location that you're living in. For example, for Oita, which is where I'm living, the minimum wage is 822 yen per hour. Whereas for bigger cities like Tokyo, the minimum wage is actually 1,013 yen per hour. You may see a big difference between working in the countryside and working in the big cities. However, these rates have been calculated to fit the pricing and cost of living per region. So I would say that it's kind of reasonable. Another point is that there are many types of part-time job. There is a usual long-term part-time job, but there's also short-term part-time job, even one-day part-time job. So there's actually so many working opportunities for you in Japan. Regarding working hours, students can work up to 28 hours per week during school days, and when they have a longer holiday, say summer or winter vacation, they can work up to 40 hours per week. In order to be able to work, you need to apply for a part-time working permit. So once you finish the procedure, which is really simple, it will be shown in the back of your residence card. And it will mean that, oh, you are eligible to work part-time in Japan. Number 2, what kind of jobs can you do in Japan? There are so many jobs you can do actually. And I myself, I have quite the experience with different kinds of part-time jobs. However, for students, the most popular kinds of part-time job is working in the service or hospitality industry, or sometimes even in education. And based on my personal experience, I have worked long-term part-time jobs in these categories: restaurant, hotel, and teaching. And regarding short-term part-time jobs, I've worked in 3 main categories: cultural exchange, translation, and internship. The scope of work and rate of pay really differ depending on the type of job, so stick around to the very last part and I will tell you more about it. Number 3, how to find and apply for these jobs. People are always hiring. The key point is you know where to find them. There are 3 ways you can do so. Number 1 is to walk around the neighborhood and look for job posting. It is a hit or a miss, but if you are lucky enough while you walk around town, you may see a lot of arubaito boshu or hiring part-timers posters or signs, and once you do, you can actually go inside to ask if they are hiring and when you can come for an interview or if you need to submit any resume. The second way is to find job posting on job terminals. In Japan, there are a lot of websites and applications you can use to find part-time jobs. You can use Townwork or Mainabi Baito. However, these websites are not the most user-friendly for foreigners, So unless you're very good at Japanese, it's going to take you quite a while to get used to the navigation. However, there are actually up and coming user-friendly job portals for foreigners. In those websites and applications, you can look and apply for jobs in English. The first one is your university part-time job terminal. I mean, if your school has one. My university have one, and they mainly hire for jobs on campus, both in English and Japanese. Most of these jobs include teaching assistant, cultural exchange jobs, technical staff jobs, and sometimes like working in the cafeteria or the school supermarket. So I would highly recommend you, first and foremost, to check the information on your school job portal because it's convenient and also quite flexible. But if you want to work off campus, there are also quite reliable websites like YOLO Japan. However, most of the jobs may be in bigger cities, so it's a disadvantage if you live in places like Beppu. But sometimes they even hire remote work, so give it a try. So for the two methods I talked about, you may need some sort of Japanese level to understand a job description and even to apply. But there's actually a third way, which is shokai. Shokai means to have somebody introduce you to the job. And honestly, this method is so underrated. The great thing about getting shokai is that when somebody introduces you, they actually know who you are to be able to recommend you, which means that if you apply to the job, you may have higher acceptance rate or you may get hired more quickly. I have been introduced to some short-term part-time jobs, and this year I actually introduced two of my kohai to my workplace. Of course, they still had to submit their CV and sit an interview with my boss, but because that I have quite a good reputation, my boss trusts me with my introduction, and as a result, they are more likely to hire the people that I specifically referred. As a result, I truly recommend you to create good relationships with people around you in order for them to trust you or for them to think about you when an opportunity comes. Now that you know how to find job opportunities, let's get on to the real deal, which is how to apply. Usually, the steps include preparing a resume and then sitting an interview with the employer. So in 100 yen stores like Daiso or Seria, you can easily buy the resume templates. Oh, I still have one. So inside the template, you can actually see that it's been divided clearly, and all you need to do is fill out the information. This is a sample CV template, and all you need to do is to fill out your information. Fill out, for example, your contact details, your academic history, your working history, also your desired working hours and dates. But most importantly, you need to fill out your self-PR part. Write about why you want to apply for this job and about yourself. What skills or goals do you have, and what do you want to learn at this part-time job? It may be difficult at first, but there's so many examples on the internet, so you can actually look into some of the templates and sample written ones to kind of think about, okay, this is how I will write for my CV. And yes, you have to write it in Japanese, so make sure to have someone that can help you check your Japanese. Okay, so you just go and submit the CV to the employer place. And if you pass, then they may or may not ask you to sit an interview, but most of the times they do. I would say part-time job interview is quite chill, but it also depends on the type of working place. The questions are going to be quite similar to what you wrote in your interview: your working history, your desired working time, and also the skills or what you want to do and learn at this part-time job. And finally, this is the part that I am kind of afraid to share because you may think that I am a workaholic. But I thought that maybe I should really talk about real life examples, and I hope that when I share with you what kind of jobs that I did, I hope that you will not just limit yourself to one type of job. There are actually so many working opportunities out there. So finally, number 4, all of the part-time jobs I did and how much I made from each of them. So in Japan, I did both long-term part-time jobs and short-term part-time jobs. My first job in Japan was actually working at a hotel. It's a 4-star hotel, so it's really big. And I worked as a waitress at a buffet restaurant. I believe I worked from 2 to 3 days a week. And if it's on the weekdays, I work for maybe 4 to 5 hours. And then if it's on the weekend, I work maybe 8 hours. Yeah. It was crazy. But I was in my first year, so I had some time to work. And the pay was actually very good. It was 900 yen per hour, which is quite a lot compared to the minimum wage. However, it was really hard. It was really tiring because if I work on the weekend, I need to wake up maybe 4:30, and then the bus would come to my university dorm and pick me up to the restaurant because restaurants open really early, so we need to go and prepare. Yeah, I guess it made good money, but it was really tiring. But I really liked the job because I get to walk a lot. I love walking, and the best part is I get to work with my good friends Prakriti and Rifki, so they just made the experience of working there so much better. I worked there for about half a year. My second part-time job was actually at Moss Burger. So Moss Burger is this amazing burger franchise in Japan. It's so good. I would recommend you from like a former part-timer perspective. For that one, I just happened to be walking around town and I saw the posting. So I called the number and I asked if I could come submit my CV and do an interview. And just like that, I got the job. So for Moss Burger, I was working for 800 yen per hour if it's in the morning, and if I worked at night after 9 p.m., then it becomes 850 yen. And 800 yen when I was working is above minimum wage. So the minimum wage for Oita was so much lower a few years ago. And I love this job, to be honest. I got to do everything because I was doing veggie, but gradually I got closer to my boss and I showed him that I am a quick learner. So I was also taught how to make drinks, make ice cream, prepare the dessert, and also like my favorite part is to fry the fries. I love it so much. Finally, the third part-time jobs I did, which is the one I'm doing right now, is 7-Eleven. So I'm working at a convenience store. For this place, I've been working here for around 9 months. Convenience store usually pay minimum wage, but if you work in like late shift, or if you're like me, you work in very early shift. So I work from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. every day, every morning. So we call it the sojo shifto. So like early morning shifts, and for those kind of shifts, the hourly wage is 850 yen per hour. I have to wake up at around 5:30, but I guess there's benefits to waking up early and I'm okay with the pay. Regarding the job content, I basically do everything. I do ready, I do cleaning, I check the merchandise, I stack the merchandise, I fry the chicken and stuff. I get really hands-on work and I get to do a bit of everything. I learned a lot from doing part-time jobs, and I was able to make okay money to pay for my rent and my utilities. And then we have the short-term part-time job, and if I were to write down a list, I think it will be up to like 20 or something. I did a lot of random part-time jobs. I like the flexibility of it. It's only like a few months or a few weeks or even like just one day. It's like a very good way to explore new things while making money. So the first part-time job short-term that I want to highlight is actually working as a teaching assistant. So as a teaching assistant, I applied through the job portal on my university website, and I also got introduced by my professor to work as a teaching assistant as well. As the nature of short-term part-time job, it's really flexible and very convenient. I think we pay minimum wage, but there are certain types of teaching assistant job that pays a bit better. I was doing teaching assistant for study skills and academic writing for first year students, and then I was an English teaching assistant teaching pre-intermediate English, and then I was a GSEP TA. I taught English to working people who came to APU to study English and study business in English. And the most recent teaching jobs I done and I am doing is capstone teaching assistant, and for this one I am the lead teaching assistant, so I don't directly interact with students, but I coordinate the classes between other teaching assistants and professors. Most jobs on campus are minimum wage. However, I would suggest you look into the job description and the salary rate. I really like teaching. I really like teaching. So I've been doing it since my first year, and now I am in my last semester and I'm still doing teaching assistant. It's just something that I do because I love it. In addition to, yes, I can make a little bit of money on the side. Other types of short-term part-time jobs I do includes attending cultural exchange, and when I go there I can present about my country, Vietnam, and I get paid to join the workshop. I also did translation, so I was an interpreter from English to Japanese, or sometimes there's Japanese to Vietnamese, which is something that I found on like a job portal, so I just tried because I never did translation before, so I wanted to try. And then cultural exchange, language exchange, what else did I do? Oh yeah, I also do guest speaking job. Thanks to you actually, my content creation and my mentorship program, basically everything I do on social media has helped me create an income by becoming guest speakers. So thank you so much. You actually helped me make a partial income that goes directly into my tuition and my rent, and thank you so much for that. And finally, I do internships. I did a total of 5 internships in my 4 years of university. Some of them are paid, and they are paid based on Tokyo rate because it was a remote internship. Others were not paid. However, the company helped me a little bit with my housing because I moved to Tokyo to do the internship. So the companies helped out with finding houses, and also they helped me with my transportation cost. So even though I didn't get paid to do the job, I still received help from the company, and either way I still got to achieve my goal of doing internship, to learn to do something that I love. So I think it was worth it. To sum up, I am a workaholic. Just kidding. But yes, I am a workaholic. But what I'm trying to say is that you should really give part-time job a go, especially if you are in university. Even if you are studying abroad, you can still get part-time employment in both Japanese, and maybe sometimes the jobs can be in English. Sometimes it can be in the healthcare or the service industry or in education, or it can just be something that, you know, you volunteer your time and you get paid in terms of transportation. Don't try to put a single label on what a part-time job should be. Just give it a try. I think that it's a very unique experience to have, especially when you travel abroad to study. By working with different people, communicating with them, it just really helps you to become more quickly on your feet, to think more proactively, to think about how you can communicate in certain contexts, how you can deal with real life problems. The bonus part is if you find a part-time job you really like, or you find a job that helps you achieve your goals, then in terms of money or working hours or the type of jobs, it wouldn't matter as much because you're able to learn something or you're able to get something by doing something you love. And personally, I think that's a bit more important. I would say I'm a bit more privileged because I am able to make enough money to pay for my tuition and basically support myself. And in the worst case that I cannot, I can still fall back on my family. But I have friends who are pressured to work so hard to support not only themselves, but sometimes they have to send money back to their family, and I really empathize with them and I really admire them for doing so. But my personal opinion is that you're studying abroad and the word literally has the word study in it. So I would prioritize my studying and then try to make money. If you're overworking yourself, then you will not have the energy to study, which may result in getting bad marks or you failing a class, and eventually it's going to hurt you because your scholarships may get revoked or you may not even be able to graduate. But on the other hand, if you focus on your studies, you will get knowledge and also skills that will strengthen your CV. So if you go and apply for part-time jobs or internships, you would just stand out and people would love to work with you. I guess what I'm trying to say is that you should definitely give part-time job a try when you are a student. However, focus on your studies first. I hope you enjoyed it or it gave you some insights to the possibilities of doing part-time jobs even when you're studying. You may need time to adjust to your new time schedule or added work, but I think if you're able to make it work, then in the future you can do so much more. So, 頑張ってね! Thank you so much for watching this video. If you thought it was helpful, please give it a like, subscribe, and follow me on social media. If you have any video requests, please let me know in the comments below. Since I mentioned internship, I think maybe some of you are interested to know how you can find internships in Japan. So if you like to know more, let me know in the comments. And that's it. I will see you next time. Bye!